The latest climate report just dropped, and it's even worse than we thought. Like, oh yeah, we're literally watching the planet burn while politicians sit there and play BS partisan games. Worse. What am I talking about? Well, the Climate Action Tracker just released their 2025 analysis. And here is the devastating reality. We are currently, as a planet, on track for 2.6 degrees Celsius of warming by the year 2100. So let me just kind of translate that a little bit. 2.6 degrees Celsius is 4.7 degrees Fahrenheit of warming. You might be thinking, well, okay, so what? A couple of degrees, right? No, here's the thing. That the half degree increase from 2.1 Celsius to 2.6 is not just like a tiny little statistic, okay? We're basically talking about the difference between somewhat manageable climate chaos, and it's still chaos, by the way. Even if it is somewhat manageable, it's still going to be a disaster. We go from that to complete climate system collapse. Look, the Paris Climate Agreement, which I don't think was enough, but it did give us a target of trying to keep warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius, with 2 degrees as the absolute ceiling. Can't go above that, but no, we are. We're about to blow past both of those targets like they're just nothing, you know, and that's it. But wait, it gets worse, actually. So it's not it. The report actually shows that we're widening something called the emissions gap, which is climate speak for how far we are away from being able to save civilization. It's grown from 29 to 31 billion tons of CO2 equivalent. Basically, we are falling further behind while greenhouse gas emissions have plateaued since 2020. Fantastic. Awesome. Now, here's the thing. The Climate Action Tracker also laid out what they call optimistic scenarios. And even those show us hitting 1.9 degrees of warming. So even when scientists use their most hopeful and optimistic assumptions, we still end up cooking the planet beyond the threshold for a livable future. It's not good. 2.6 degrees. Think about what that means. Ecosystems collapsing, agricultural systems failing, mass displacement of human beings, and economic damage that's going to make the Great Depression look like a picnic. All right? But here's the kicker, too. We know exactly what we need to do to prevent all this from happening. And the report's pretty clear. What we need to do is have emissions cuts of 50% by 2030. Not 2050, okay? Not 2035, but by the end of the decade. That's 5 years for us to accomplish what we should have been doing over the past 30. Now, what are our leaders doing instead? Well, nothing. I mean, while the science is screaming for us to do something, to act, you have politicians in Capitol Hill that are still debating whether or not climate change is real. Oil companies that are drilling more than ever, okay, thanks to Donald Trump, and our moderate Democrats that are still trying to push for a gradual transition to green energy. That would take decades longer than what we actually have. Our so-called moderate Democrats are pushing for a gradual transition that would take until 2050. That's about 25 years too late. Okay? Meanwhile, a lot of them are still taking oil money. I mean, yeah, of course. Of course. Now, the right wing, of course, has also gone completely off the rails with their climate denial. They're treating environmental destruction like it's a culture war issue, which it's not. But, of course, the real betrayal here, though, are the Democrats who know better, but don't act like it. I mean, every single solution to this crisis exists right now. We've got renewable energy. It's actually cheaper than fossil fuels. We have technology right now to completely transform our energy system. The only problem is we do not have the political will to do so, because you have too many Democrats, unfortunately, that are in bed with the corporate interests. And the reason that I'm not criticizing the Republicans as much, because none of them even believe in climate change. So of course we knew that they were never going to do anything. That's why the Democrats were the only people that, hey, you can do something because you actually say that you believe in it. Well, why don't you live your values? Okay? But they're not. They're not. Look, it's not just about the polarized caps. Okay? This is about whether or not your children will inherit a planet that they can actually live on. And right now, the people we voted for choose corporate profits over the future of all of our families. Remember, the climate action tracker scientists, they're not alarmists. They're just documenting what happens when we do nothing. And that's what we're doing. We're doing nothing. And so the trajectory here is quite clear. So here's my question to you. Are y'all going to keep voting for people who promise climate action but never deliver? Only deliver climate delay? Because 2.6 degrees ain't just a number. It is a death sentence for a habitable planet. And we are approaching, well, the execution date. The time for half measures, for incrementalism, is over. It is past. Either we act like this is an emergency, because it is, or we admit that, you know what, I guess we never really intended to do anything about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.